God is dead. Friedrich Nietzsche.
Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Man is dead. Michael Foucault. Question: is there a God? AI scientist. Not yet. Nietzsche is probably most famous for one pronouncement: God is dead. But what did Nietzsche mean by this? Simply that the belief in God as a supreme being that was all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-knowing was no longer a belief that was held by all without question. The belief in all-knowing, all-loving, and all-powerful God as the organizing principle around which societies, culture, law, and ethics were founded and sustained was no longer merely accepted as true. A belief in God, of course, was still held by the majority. However, Nietzsche's argument was that it was a belief necessary to be held by almost everyone en masse for it to act as an ethical touchstone for societies and cultures. And according to Nietzsche, once these cracks began to appear, there was no turning back. It was only a matter of time for the belief in God to no longer hold sway in culture and society. For Nietzsche, this loss of belief in God was a very dangerous situation, as it would lead to an increasing nihilism where nothing had any meaning or purpose anymore, and ethics would be undermined, untethered, and ungrounded. It was not only the belief in God that Nietzsche saw as beginning to fail, but any belief in any transcendental signifier at all. A transcendental signifier is any idea, belief, or notion that stands at the top of any system of belief. For example, deciding whether a work of art is beautiful can depend on our beliefs around notions of ultimate beauty. In that case, our belief of what we hold as ultimate beauty acts as the transcendental signifier with which to compare and measure the artwork as either beautiful or not. But what happens if a society no longer believes that notions of ultimate beauty are true or even possible? Because many different ideas of beauty are held by many different people and cultures. In the same way, how do we decide what is right or wrong without a clear understanding and belief in what is good? What if, because of our shrinking postmodern world, we become aware of many different ideas of what is good? Nietzsche said that at the beginning of the modern era, all transcendental signifiers were looking increasingly shaky. He felt that modern European culture would increasingly fall into a profound nihilism, where it became impossible to locate or stabilize any meaning or purpose in life. Thus, Nietzsche's whole philosophical project was to overcome this nihilistic lack of meaning. Nietzsche's answer was that people should seek to affirm that which required no belief at all, the undeniable fact that you are alive. The answer to the meaning of life for Nietzsche was to be alive as you possibly could be. Therefore, Nietzsche's whole philosophy might be summarized by one word: yes. Yes to life. Yes to this life. Nietzsche asked, how can we affirm this life, our life, with no recourse to any beliefs or concepts of God? How can we live a life without recourse to any beliefs or transcendental signifiers at all? In other words, if we are to live this life without a belief in God or any transcendental signifier, we must say yes to this life. We must accept this life as the one and only life with no recourse to a belief in heaven or any life beyond this one. We must put all our so-called eggs into one basket, this life. We must, according to Nietzsche, say yes to all of life, including the suffering. We must begin to see life as a form of will to power, or life's need and powerful urge for more life. We seek always to be more alive, and this quest to be more alive, more powerful, gives meaning to our suffering and allows us to say yes to all of life, to affirm all of life. A French philosopher, Michael Foucault, who died in 1984, took this idea even further. Foucault takes a particular transcendental signifier and begins to dismantle it. That transcendental signifier is man. What Foucault points out is that just as we began to suspect the transcendental signifier of God, we have come to a similar position with the transcendental signifier of man. Man, as a transcendental signifier, says that there is an ultimate belief about man or humankind. That is to say, all humans have certain traits, characteristics, wants, or needs. However, Foucault says that once we define the category man is a certain way and make universal claims, we leave many humans out of that category. For example, when the English arrived in Australia in 1770, they claimed Australia for England, as they said that Australia was terra nullius, a land empty of humans. Australia was not empty. There were over 1 million Australian Aborigines living in Australia at the time. However, these Aborigines did not meet the classical definition of man or human current in the 1770s, which was man is an animal rational or a rational animal. According to the English invaders, these indigenous peoples were not rational and therefore not human, and so the land was theirs for the taking. Foucault argues that any time we make universal claims about the category man, that we are at the same time leaving people out of the definition, simply by saying that all men, humans, are like this. We are at the same time saying that anyone not like this is not human. Foucault goes on to say that in this postmodern period, as cultures and societies become, through the internet and other means, increasingly aware of and blended into each other, universal claims about the nature of man have become less and less capable of being maintained. Thus, if we lost our belief in God, we are losing our belief in any universal claims about man. Both of these concepts, God and man, create those inside the definition and those outside the definition. There are a kind of bias. Today's artificial intelligence, or AI, has many software engineers looking at ways in which to overcome the bias expressed in some AI, such as Alexis. As we develop artificial intelligence, it is becoming increasingly important to uncover any bias that may be lurking in the software. For example, if Alexis is asked, "Is there a God?" and Alexis answers, "Yes," and he is a superior being who is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving, it becomes obvious that Alexis has a bias towards an understanding of God from a particular Judeo-Christian point of view, and all the beliefs that flow on from that. It is these types of biases and others that AI programmers have been working to remove. But is this possible? Is a bias-free point of view possible? Is it possible to have bias-free artificial intelligence? As you consider this question, consider alongside of it another question. Is it possible to have an ethical society without the categories man and/or God? Many of the issues that these AI programmers are facing in trying to eliminate bias from artificial intelligence are very similar to the challenges faced by those who are trying to build an ethical society within a postmodern, i.e. a post-transcendental signifier society. Let's look at one answer to this problem of how to overcome bias. Richard Rorty was an American philosopher who died in 2007. Rorty argued that a way to overcome this problem was by drawing on pragmatism. Pragmatism is a philosophical idea first put forward by another American philosopher, William James, 1842 to 1910. This is the idea that when deciding the best course of action, what is important is not what is considered true or right, but what will deliver the best outcome. In other words, the truth of the action is in the outcome that it can deliver. not whether the action conforms with some truth or transcendental signifier. Rorty suggests that when we are deciding on an action, we should not be drawing on any metaphysical notions, such as God or man, but rather we should decide on what action would deliver the best outcome. Therefore, it may be a better approach for AI programmers to not necessarily look for biases in their software, but ways in which artificial intelligence can serve to help us achieve desired outcomes. So Alexis's conversation might go something like this. Question: is there a God? Alexis: there are many ideas and conceptions of God. Each of them serve different types of social, ethical, and political outcomes. Question: what is man? Alexis: there are many definitions of what a man is. However, none of them exhaust the varieties and unlimited expressions of what it is to be human. Perhaps in this future world, where definitions of God and man are finally released, we can build an ethics based on the allowing and cultivating of difference. Let's hope.